I didn't mention that yet, but in 2012 to 2020, I did ministry full-time while I worked full-time, went to school part-time, kept having a kid every 3 years. Pretty chaotic 8 years of my life, but still married and have 4 kids. So that's a blessing. But for me, I'm very intentional about following people. And this is my hope for that people would do the same thing for me. And this is how they would build their spheres. But I like to watch people from afar. Like, how do we compose ourselves? Is it aligned with the way I compose myself? One reason I met you at the No Honesty book signing there. There was some synergy, right? There was, this is interesting. We had a great opportunity, and then we met, and now we're here. But that is how I do life and business in my profession. I follow people on social media venues. I go to places where they are, and I want to understand them better to see if we align well. And if we do, then I want to connect out of a motive of understanding that there will be an opportunity to be an influence in my sphere and vice versa. Because I don't want it to just be a one-way street, right? I don't look for people. I'm not looking for a gang where I'm the ringleader. I'm looking for a group of people that I can do life with and be transparent with and love well, and they'll hold me accountable and I'll be able to hold them accountable. And I think that's important. And I think too often people separate those professional and personal lives, which is okay. For me, it doesn't work. It just doesn't work that well for me, because integrity means you are who you are. If no one's looking, right? You do the right thing. But the reality is, integrity is you are who you are no matter what situation you're in. No matter where if you're at church, or if you're at family affair, or you're here, or, if you're leading big groups, or if you're at war. I mean, who you are is who you are to the core. And if you're not, you're lying to yourself and to everyone else, right? So when I'm looking to build those spheres, I'm looking for people that are going to be like-minded, that can help me grow. Some people, there are times where I look for people that are the next step ahead of where I'm at, so I can strive for them, but also people that I can possibly mentor that are one step behind me. I think that's a big piece that I've been learning more in the coaching business as well, in the consulting business, right? And I just read this in a book the other day, where coaches and consultants usually are just one chapter ahead in the book than the other people. And that just hit me really well, because usually oftentimes when you're leading something, you don't feel as confident. Like you don't have anything to give, and I hear those whispers all the time. And that's one thing I wrote down in my notes, is we have to silence those whispers. So look for people that are going to build you up, hold you accountable, and encourage you. And those are the folks that will stick around you for a long period of time.
Love it. Yeah, I love the intentionality with paying attention and watching those that you can relate to, or that they're telling a story that's like, okay, yeah, there's some synergies here.
Yeah.
The saying, your frequency is what you frequently see, it comes to mind. Just the idea of like what you talk about, what you describe, your aura is what attracts that same type of person, right? So if you are excited or passionate about, let's just use simple examples, pickleball, or bowling or something like that, you talk about those things. Others also that are passionate about those same things will attract to it. So if you're putting out content like you are on LinkedIn very well, and you're talking about leadership, and you're talking about these things that have impacted you in the past and are impacting you today, others that can relate to that are going to be drawn to you and become part of your sphere, that then you're going to be able to do life together. So you telling your story is giving you the ability to kind of attract more, and also encourage maybe some of those that you might never know, might never connect with, might never have a conversation with, but yet they were able to learn from your experience because you were willing, and you went out there, and it was probably a little uncomfortable, but you went out there and told that story. And you mentioned a little bit about mentoring and getting involved with that side. Can you tell me a little bit more about what you do there?
Yeah, so I really desire, so there's a couple of things. There's one avenue that I'm actually pursuing right now, which is pretty neat. I'm actually looking to become a chaplain at Grand Valley State University for the athletics. There's a ministry here out of Lifestream in town called Mariah Ministries, and they actually run the chaplaincies at Grand Valley. And we're a very athletic family. And I want to mentor them, right? I want to be close to them and be available to talk to them about life. And maybe they have a relationship with the Lord if they have one, or if not, just be there to encourage. I've always had a passion, and I never was able to jump into this, but for like big brothers, big sisters, because I had a son at 21. So I had my son, so I was a father. But I've always had a passion to do that type of stuff. And I've started to pursue that more recently, be it with nonprofits or with the chaplaincy, to just be present with those that are younger or at a different stage of life than I am, and have transparency so they can have hope. Because oftentimes we hear things like, here's the steps, read the books and we watch the podcasts and we go through all these different messages, but we don't have opportunity to speak to someone about application. We don't have someone to actually look at and say, oh, wow, it doesn't look like the book. Their life doesn't look like the book, right? But look where they are. And that's what I want to bring, right? Like, do you look at my past? If you looked at the past 41 years, almost 42 years now, it's crazy, like it's just, it doesn't look like, some people wouldn't label it successful, right? But that is what drives me, the desire to mentor. And any environment that I'm in, like I just had a gentleman that was in mortgages, started about a year after I did. And he just left the industry because he was called to do something different. But we started meeting every like 3 months, and I didn't even know what I was doing. But again, I was one chapter ahead of him. So I started mentoring him, and we started talking about the seasons of mortgages and in real estate and what that looked like. And we would just share lunch and share life. And out of that, I mean, he made it 2 years in the industry. I've been in the industry 3.5 now, but he found out it wasn't for him. But at least, as one of my colleagues and friends told me in a meeting 2 weeks ago, at least he gave 100%, and he went out knowing that it wasn't the right thing, but he gave everything. And that's what I want to bring out in people, right? Is to encourage them to give 100% in whatever they're called to do. And if it changes, that's okay, and be okay with that. But know that you gave everything you had to try to be successful in that area.
Yeah. Thanks for that story. And then also your willingness to jump in and support a colleague and mentor, even, with the athletics department and different departments like that. I'm curious, in that specific example, was the process of being a mentor, did that help you did that push you? Like, for example, I've been feeling this a lot lately, right? Like the best, you always hear like the best way to learn is to teach others, but also you work hard to become a better person, like you do for your family and you do for your employees, for those that you're teaching. So if he is a chapter behind you,
right?
Did you feel like some type of motivation to go out and learn something new, to go out and try different tactics so that you could teach him, but in turn you were, becoming a, better at that specific task as well?
Yeah, it definitely kept me crisp.
Yeah.
I think that's probably the big piece, right? That I knew that if I lacked, I wouldn't have anything to bring, right? So that really spurred me to say, like, I need to be engaged all the time. And maybe ironically, and I didn't even think about this till this moment actually, but in mortgages, the season, the depression season, which is what I would call it with him, when we talked about the seasons, that happens like mid-October through the rest of the year, because people kind of go on vacation at the holidays in our industry. That's when I found out he was leaving the industry. So it is interesting how you had mentioned that and you asked that question. And that probably played into me having a little bit deeper depressive type season, because I didn't have that person to look forward to, maybe, and I didn't, again, I'm just talking this out right now because I never thought about it that way until you mentioned that question. But yes, it spurred me on to have to continue to learn, to give 100%, because if I didn't, whenever we would meet for lunch, there was accountability in that, which is ironic, isn't it? The person you're mentoring is holding you accountable just because you have to bring something to the table, right? And you can't hold somebody accountable or encourage them unless you're actually doing the thing, right? Isn't that the craziest part about it? And that's just relationship in general, but yes, from a mentoring standpoint, and that's the exciting part, right? That's the other flip side. That's what keeps it fun. That's what I get pumped about, and that's part of my purpose too. That if you had purpose was a pie, that would be a good 33% of it probably is just that driving force of investing in people. Call it mentorship, call it what it is, but through transparency and talking about life and my experiences, people can take that and be impacted and grow. And that's what keeps me stepping forward. This is for my purpose for sure.
Doing it for someone else, but at the same point, you're getting a benefit out of that as well. And, it's not the main benefit that you're trying to get out, but it is proving to be one of the more impactful ones that are leading towards changes, and growth in your personal life and things like that as well.